Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. This time around we will be using the Graal Spike Thrower, what I imagine to be a very popular weapon among the Mass Effect 3 player base. It's definitely one of my favorite weapons. It's incredibly powerful, but let's see how accurate it is. Again, it is unmodded and level 1. So let's see how accurate it is at... Let's start out at very short range this time around, and I would just like to demonstrate that its accuracy is the same whether it's charged or it's uncharged. So a charged shot here versus an uncharged shot. As you can see, pretty much identical groupings. So we're not going to compare charged versus uncharged shots. I would also like to quickly demonstrate a technique you can use with this weapon, where you can quickly get off 2 shots in succession. So, like so. Just a quick charge, and then tap the button again. That was a little bit worse. Let's try again. There we go. So that's a technique you can use. It's similar to the Geth plasma shotgun from Mass Effect 2, and allows you to really get off quick bursts of fire. Let's see how fast we can burst with all 3 shots. So that is essentially this weapon's rate of fire. A way to increase the weapon's effective range is simply by firing just all 3 shots, just more ammo, better chance to hit. But let's start out by just looking at uncharged shots at short range and checking out the spread. So short range from the hip. As you can see, a very tight grouping. This is a very accurate shotgun, relatively speaking. It is double-barreled. It shoots out about 3 spikes. I believe it shoots out 3 spikes per chamber, but I couldn't tell you for sure. So let's continue to short range. It has a relatively long reload. Oops, that's medium range. Here's short range. Yeah, so that's a relatively long reload like the other heavier shotguns like the Claymore, Crusader. So, here we go from the hip at short range. So again, quite accurate. And I'm not really sure how much damage each individual spike does, so I don't know if 2 spikes in the head is still a really solid hit or not, but in practice, using this weapon, I know that headshots at short range are still very effective, so I assume that each individual spike does quite a bit of damage. Now let's compare mid-range from the hip. Starting to get a much larger spread overall. At mid-range, headshots probably are still doable, but are much more risky. Like most shotguns, you should be aiming for center mass at mid-range. So let's try mid to long. Mid to long, the weapon is ineffective. Its spread is far too large overall. So let's try long range. And again, pretty much totally ineffective. It's more luck than anything else at these ranges, because the spread is very random. And just to show you, it's sometimes better to fire burst. If you must fire at this range, it's probably best to unload all 3 shots in the chamber and to aim for center mass. As you can see, many more spikes actually hit center mass at this range. And that's simply because you're shooting more spikes downrange, so thus, of course, more are going to hit. So if you must attack enemies at long range or mid to long range, it's best to just unload all 3 shots in the chamber and hope the enemy falls down, essentially. Alright, so now let's try down the sights at short range. So as you can see, we actually have a tighter grouping at short range when fired down the sights. Comparing that to from the hip, it's actually noticeably tighter. So this weapon is actually best to aim down the sights, at least at short range. At very short range, I should say. Let us compare it to short range. Down the sights, short range, with the Graal Spike Thrower. Again, a much tighter grouping. Much tighter. Much more accurate. for headshots at this range when aimed down the sights. Makes a significant difference. Let's try medium range. And I can already tell, again, a significant difference. Headshots are absolutely doable down the sights at medium range. Interesting. So this shotgun really does make a huge difference, whether it's aimed from the hip or it's aimed down the sights. So let's now try medium long range. And again, very accurate at medium long range. Significantly so. Headshots are still doable at medium long range. Let's try long range. Headshots are actually still doable at long range. You have to get a little lucky, I would say. But certainly, if you fire out 2 in quick succession, you should kill your target for the most part if they're down to their red bar. So an interesting weapon. This shotgun is very different from the other shotguns. You can again shoot out regular shots or charged shots, though it does not make any difference as to the spread. Though I suppose we could see if a charged shot makes a difference at very long range when aimed down the sights. Let's quickly demonstrate that. Not really. It's about the same. So there really is no difference in accuracy whether or not the shot is charged or uncharged. But this weapon from the hip is very accurate, far more accurate, far tighter grouping than pretty much any other shotgun that I have seen. And it is accurate at very short range, and mid-range. Beyond that, you should probably be aiming for center mass and shooting bursts of 3 shots. Now, when aimed down the sights, it is significantly more accurate, and you should probably do so in just about any situation that isn't a twitch shot. And it is accurate at pretty much any range when aimed down the sights, even for headshots. Long range, it will take a bit of luck and will probably require 2 shots in quick succession. But overall, a very interesting weapon. Definitely comparable to the Geth plasma shotgun in Mass Effect 2, though even more accurate, even more damaging. It's definitely an unshotgun, as Casey Hudson described the Geth plasma shotgun. Alright guys, well thanks for watching. Sub, like, comment, and I appreciate it a lot. I will be sure to get back to you. Alright, have a good